Sunday. Welcome to the Survival Seeds live stream. We're super excited for this week because we have a super awesome guest today. Lazy Days Ahead is actually traveling right now, so they might not make it today. But we've got a super cool guest for today and a lot of great videos this week that we're really excited to get into. So, hi everyone. Hello, Miss Suzanne and Christy Betts. Happy Sunday. Hello, Dark Lord Minute and Jennifer Ocean Homestead. There we go. Let's see. Mr. Charles, happy Sunday. And Troy Sutton. Happy Sunday, everyone. It's good to see you all. Hello, our treasured home. Happy Sunday. Are you feeling any better today?
Very sick last week.
Yeah, we know you were feeling sick last week. Hope you're feeling better. I'm trying to figure out the setup there. All right. So this week we had a lot of videos. These are just a few of them. The others had some duplicates, but it all adds up. Put up a video. She made some really yummy looking chili with some of her survival seeds vegetables, and it looked really, really good. Just looking at it, I was getting hungry. So props to you on that. That looked really, really good. Idaho Garden Girl put up an update on her kidney beans. She's a little bit worried about frost, but hopefully she'll be able to harvest some of her beans in time. The plants look good, but a frost is creeping up on her. So hopefully she'll get a harvest of kidney beans before the frost gets there. Grace NYC, Miss Grace put up a video wrapping up her garden. It's going to get cold soon, but what's still there looks great, and Luffy looks great, but the cold is starting to creep in on everyone. And so the outdoor gardens are starting to wrap up, and indoor gardens are starting to be put together. Prairie Living Twins put up a couple of videos, and they have hornworms. They had a lot of hornworms on their plants, and those bugs, one worm can take out so many tomatoes on one plant and so many leaves that they can actually take out a whole plant. So hornworms are definitely bad news. So I hope you're able to figure something out with those hornworms. Hi, Tripod. Rambling with the Brums put up a video. It is super cold out by him that he has to keep moving around and dancing to keep warm, but he's got some onions he's harvesting. But again, it is super cold out by him, and so I, for one, am not looking forward to the cold weather, but there are some good things that come with it. And Miss Suzanne has her shirt arrived that she won in the giveaway. Her Survival Seeds shirt arrived, and so she has her shirt, and it looks really good. Those are some awesome shirts. So, Christy Betts, you had a lot of hornworms this year too. We found a good bit of big ones in our garden too, and we had to give them to the chickens and the emus. So those worms can be pretty problematic. And that's all for the hashtag updates. I didn't count how many videos there were this week. It took me a while to scroll through the entire hashtag, but I did not count how many new videos there were. But there were a lot of really great videos. And again, if you guys aren't staying updated, I know I saw some videos from Mr. Charles' side of the collaboration. If you guys aren't keeping up with the hashtag, I highly recommend that you do so. Those videos in there are super cool and super helpful, and there's a lot of things you can learn from your fellow gardeners. Whether you've been gardening your whole life or just started gardening this year, you can learn so many things from all the other YouTube channels and gardeners that are in this collaboration. So definitely try and keep up to date with the hashtag as best you can. Hi, Thrifty Endeavors and Adventures, and Mike's Chaotic Gardening. So definitely try to keep up to date with those with that hashtag, because there's a lot of really amazing videos in there. Hi, ER. Good evening. It's good to see you. And so without any further ado, we can bring out Mr. Charles. Hello. Mr. Charles.
Hello.
Oh, I remember that guy. I remember that monkey. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
I saw there were some videos for your hashtag this week.
Was there? I haven't had time to
Yeah,
even look myself.
I think it was Dark Lord Menet did some videos for the herbs.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
How's your garden doing?
it's not. It's the droughts pretty much. I can't keep it watered. I'm at,
Oh, sorry.
I'm yeah. It's so bad. My water bills went up $30.
Oh man,
Oh wow.
that's not
So
good.
yeah, I'm at the point where I just let it go because it's um the tomatoes don't turn they're getting baked so much they're orange or they're not turning ripe.
Wow. That's awful. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
Drought can be a
it's
pain.
part of gardening.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a drought.
Yep.
Miss Gail planted her first fall garden.
Ooh.
That's super.
Those
cool.
are fun.
Yeah, I did plant you know, after my garlic, I planted zucchini, so I already got zucchini already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I still got stuff from the garden. It's just it's not like a total bust, but it gets disappointing when you're expecting them a big yield of tomatoes. But
Right.
I I got a last year I got overabundance of tomatoes, so I guess it makes up for it.
Yeah. We usually do pretty well with squash, and ours is just awful this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have much luck with squash. Which is the topic of today's interview with Miss Lorrie, because she's been having a lot of adventures trying to determine a way she can eat squash and like it.
Oh, my favorite way is dip them in egg, slice them, dip them in egg, and um, put them in cornmeal or breadcrumbs with spices and stuff, and then fry it.
Sounds good.
That does sound good.
Yeah, kind of like fried green tomatoes, but with squash. You can do the same thing with eggplant too.
Ah,
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Maybe we should try that. Kik is not a fan of zucchini. We haven't found any ways to cook them where she'll like them.
Well, do you like eggplant parmesan?
Nope.
Oh, well.
She doesn't like eggplants or zucchinis.
Okay. Well,
Or mushrooms or olives.
It's a texture thing. It's a texture thing.
I was going to suggest instead of using eggplant, you can use zucchini the same way.
The
Oh.
zucchini parmesan.
Yeah, just fried up the same way, and then put your cheese and sauce over top of it.
I like egg. I don't understand how she doesn't like eggplant parmesans. They are so good.
Oh yeah.
It's like lasagna, but
Mhm.
not like it's just amazing. I don't understand how she can like not like it.
Yeah, you can also um and this old Italian lady did this. She layered it with the chicken cutlet. She pounded down and made it uh like a chicken parmesan, but staggered it so it was one after it. It was eggplant, eggplant, chicken, and with the sauce and the cheese in the middle. Oh,
Mm.
good stuff.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah.
And we got on the subject of food.
That quickly.
It
So
wasn't
actually-
my fault this time.
Well, I mean, while we're on the subject of food, she lost a bet, and so she's got to make food.
Yes. We watched a movie last night, and it was one of those movies where there's like a rescue dog that gets in a situation with a person and saves their life. And then like they do the movies every time where they like develop this dog as having such a sweet personality and such a great dog, and then they almost always kill the dog off at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And so this movie was about like this big dog, Malamute.
Malamute.
Yeah. And he got in like a little boat wreck with a blind man, and they were like lost in the woods after they got out of the boat.
Who was driving, the dog or the blind man?
There's
No,
another
there was a
driver.
captain, but
Oh, okay.
he had a heart attack, and so he was like out of it. And so the blind man decided he'd use this dog to find help for the man. So since they had like crashed, but they were against the land. So the blind guy and the dog are trying to figure out how to get someplace. And so I was pretty sure before we started the movie, I didn't really want to watch the movie because I thought the dog was going to end up dying at the end. And I always cry in the movies where they kill the dog. And Mom didn't think so. Mom was convinced that they were going to let the dog live in this one. So we had a bet that if the dog died, Mom would make dessert today. And if the dog didn't die, then I would make dessert today. The end of the movie came and the dog hadn't died. So I have to make dessert. Though I don't know what I'm going to make.
You should make cookies.
Yeah, I'm going to make cookies. I can't have brownies.
Yeah, no.
Did you get to watch the latest episode of the Rings of Power?
We did.
Oh
my gosh!
It's getting good.
I like this season a lot better.
I love how they're incorporating the line of Durin and everything from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, every time we realize, like, oh wait, that's from the it's so cool how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the movie called?
A Hero Dog's Journey. Something before that.
I will check on that name for you.
I can't think of it. Also, Mr. Charles, do you remember? Because I can't remember. Does Elrond have a ring in the movies?
Well, he was against the rings.
He is in the episodes, but in the movie, doesn't he have the red one that the High King has in the episodes right now?
Oh.
I think he had the red ring.
Which one was the red one? Who has the red one?
Right now, the king does. The king with the gold leaf.
Oh, okay.
Hat. It's not a hat. Right now, he has it, and I can't think of if Elrond has one or not. And I don't want to go watch the movie because I feel like that's going to spoil stuff.
Well, you've already watched the movie, though.
Yeah, but I don't remember all of it. You watch it like twice a year, and you still don't remember the whole.
I know. I end up having a day where I watch one of them. I said, "Well, I have to go back and start it from the beginning and watch them all."
Right. You can't just watch one of them. And if you watch The Hobbit, you have to watch The Lord of the Rings too. It's a pair. It's a very long pair.
Well, now you got to watch the prequel series.
Right. Well, we should probably bring up our guest.
Lorrie's back there sleeping by now.
And
not quite sleeping. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
How are you?
We're good. How are you?
Good. Busy.
Oh, that's
busy.
She got a monkey dancing in the background too.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't everyone supposed to have a monkey dancing in the background? I thought that was a thing.
You guys have Bunky, so that'll work.
You have a monkey dancer who dances in the background. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's harvest time around here, so it's been pretty darn busy.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of harvesting. I have an update video coming talking about my grapes and weird things happening with my grapes and my fabulous. I think you probably saw my fabulous squash harvest already, but I'll share that with you too when we're talking about squash. So far, my squash plant is still growing. So we'll see if we'll see. It's got lots of boy flowers, but it doesn't have any girls on it.
You have to make pancakes.
You can use the boy flowers to make pancakes. Those are really good. Our grandpa used to make those.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be
all the squash flowers you can pretty much do that with.
Well, yeah, but you want to leave the girl ones to become squash. So
well, I meant different varieties of squash. You can do that with because pumpkins are real good. The flowers off of pumpkins.
Yeah.
Because that's where I got it from. My grandpa used to make them.
Oh,
Oh, they're
wow.
so good. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I got in trouble one time. I cleared like a whole row of flowers. I didn't
Oops.
know.
Oh,
I just
Mine are only
wanted to cook some up, so I went and gathered a whole roll. He said, "Oh, where'd you get these from?" I said, "From the garden." And he said, "My garden?"
my
I said,
garden?
"Yeah." And he said, "You
No.
didn't go in and take all of them, did you?" And I said, "Just in one row." He goes like,
Oh,
"Well, we better eat them then."
no.
Mine only get like they get like 2 or 3 flowers at a time. So
Oh.
I don't know that I could make pancakes with 3 squash flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you should dip them in batter and then fry them up. Oh,
Try them. I've heard that's good
good
too.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping I get a batch of squash still. I have a month before my frost date, so there is still time for a squash to appear out of nowhere and
Right?
start growing on my vine. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I just love chewers.
I'm wondering if you can get a frost when there's no rain.
Well,
you can.
we're getting rain here already, so
Oh, I
Mm.
wish
yeah.
we haven't got any this month. We got one really little bit of rain last month, and then we got a good rain the month before, and that's it.
Wow.
Wow.
We're dry.
Yeah, our July and August were pretty dry, and they had fire bans on all over the place. But
Yeah.
then we had a good solid week of rain where it rained
Oh, that
almost
would be
every
so
day.
nice.
And then since then, we've had rain at least once every 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been like perfect weather in the 70s, a little bit of rain every day, a
Oh,
little bit of sun. Right now it's blue sky and sunshine out there, so
Wow.
it's 86 degrees right now.
it's only like mid 70s out there
Yeah.
here. I think if it's even that warm. I haven't
Right.
actually checked.
Yeah, this keeps up. I might as well move down south.
67 my phone says.
You know,
So
Mr.
it's
Charles, it looks like there's a
cool,
bunch
but
of rain behind you. A bunch of water
Oh,
behind you. Yes.
yeah, I could grow a garden all year round.
Oh, yeah.
nice. I'm going to try overwintering a few things this year in my greenhouse. My greenhouse is pretty small, but I'm going to put one of my pepperoncinis in there and see if it'll overwinter.
That'll be cool.
And one of my 5-colored Chinese hot chilies. I'm going to do them too. So
Very nice.
see what happens.
I did learn a trick because I did that. I did the whole thing bringing a pot in to the house.
Mhm.
That was a big mistake because I brought
Oh, yeah.
bugs into my house.
So many bugs.
Yeah.
So what I was told is take the plant and use a water hose and get rid of all soil completely, and then
Oh,
take it in
yeah,
the
that
house
makes
and
sense.
replant it in fresh soil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was hoping it would make it in my greenhouse
Oh yeah,
where I don't have to move it inside.
yeah, that'll work.
I'm hoping because we do get some frost, but we don't get a lot of frost, and we don't get any long lasting, really cold temperatures. So I think my greenhouse might, fingers crossed, stay warm enough for it to survive. It probably won't be happy and it'll lose all its leaves, but I'm going to cut it way back anyway,
Right.
Yeah.
and then we'll see what happens.
Right.
what happens, happens. And then I learned something new.
There's always
not?
something to be learned, whether what happens is good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you want to hear one of the things I learned about squash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like
Here?
it?
Well, I hate the taste of squash. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Butternut, any of them. Like I actually spent an entire day making a sweet roasted butternut squash soup,
Yeah.
and I tasted it after this whole day of things, and it still tasted like squash. So
Wow.
I still hated it. I still hated it because I gave it away, and people said they loved it. It was great. It was wonderful squash soup, but it tasted like squash. So that was a real challenge when you guys said I had to grow squash this year. But the first thing I learned about squash is to not let it flower and fruit while you have it in the starter pot, because this is how good your squash will get if you let it flower and grow from your starter pot. It gets
That's so
big.
cute. It's a cake
Right?
size squash.
But I did, because I didn't know. I let it flower inside and it started producing its little squash, and then I put it in the ground thinking that this would grow. Once I put it in the ground and the plant started growing, I thought the squash would grow too, but I left it there until the tendrils dried on the stem. So it was ready to be harvested when I harvested it. So yeah, it is so cute, isn't it?
It is. It's so
I'm gonna
cute.
try to maybe I'll shellac it or something.
Right.
Preserve it together. My first ever butternut squash.
We
Yeah,
usually go ahead.
put it in a basket with some cherry tomatoes and some of the gherkin cucumbers.
Make it look
Mhm.
cute.
I thought about posing it with a Barbie doll.
You gotta like hollow it out so you can like immortalize it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
She's froze holding her miniature squash.
Well, we usually have really good luck with our squash. And we usually grow a whole lot of squash. We actually still have some butternut squash from last year. But this year, none of our squash did really all that well, except for some squash that grew in the back of our barnyard, which are these.
Oh.
We've got like 20 of these little guys in our barnyard, and they were not planted. They were like remnants of seeds that like from squash we gave to our animals or something. And the funny thing about this is that it is pretty clearly a mix between two squashes that we've grown, between the blue acorn squash and the spaghetti squash, because it's got the shape of an acorn squash and the little bumps, but it's a spaghetti squash. And so we have like 20 to 30 of these growing on one plant that just came out of nowhere in the back of our barnyard. We don't know where.
Nice.
Have you tried eating it yet?
Not yet. We just brought this one in. So we're gonna see.
Interesting how it tastes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna
more
try it.
than
And then we're gonna
spaghetti
no,
squash.
don't give it to tripod. We're gonna try it, and then we're gonna save the seeds, because something really important is that you have seeds that you know will grow prolifically in your area. And since this thrived without any help from us, we know that this is like a really good plant for our area specifically. And so this kind of thing is something you really want to have, whether it tastes good or not, in a survival situation. Stop looking at it, tripod. You can't eat it. No.
I keep losing my connection if I keep cutting out.
You
Anyway,
only
I was saying, talking about things that have crossed with each other. Let me just turn my green screen off for a few minutes.
Sometimes it's interesting.
Yeah.
So I grow grapes, right? I have Concord grapes on one side of an arched trellis, and then I have some sovereign something green grapes on the other side. So the Concords are little tiny purple grapes, right? That are perfectly round, and the other ones are these big green ones that are quite. So this is one of the bunches of grapes that I got
Wow, that
off
was
of
good.
my vine today. But if you look closely, you can see there's some different colors in there. Like, see,
Yeah.
That's
you can
those
see
are
there's
usually,
some. But there's also, like, do you see those little teeny tiny perfectly round ones?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
taste like Concord grapes.
Huh.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
No.
Oh no.
Those are super cool though.
Anytime she shows any food, it freezes up.
I was like, you can look at this. You can look at this. Yeah, I would like my first thought would be that those are like small and unripe yet. But if they taste like the Concords, then that's probably crossbreeding. It's very interesting. What are you looking at? Come here.
Wants that squash.
She does. She really wants it. Don't hit her head.
Wow. It can't fit him in the palm of your hand no more.
No,
Nope.
she's huge.
Tripod.
Ew.
No.
Sorry.
That's getting super aggravating. No, I'm sure it's me because my internet back here
No.
keeps cutting out. Anyway, I'll show you one more thing with my grapes. So I made juice out of my grapes, right?
Yeah.
That's the juice from my green grapes.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Like, how crazy is that, right?
Right.
Right.
So apparently, I don't know if they mixed and mingled underneath or if they mixed and mingled over top, but they're only probably 3 or 4 feet apart from each other, and they grow up and meet in the top and cross over.
Right. Now the
And,
juice.
and the other ones are completely seedless.
Wow. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, so that's interesting.
Your grapes are doing beautifully.
Yeah, they did great. I got almost, between my 2 vines, I got just about 30 pounds of grapes between my 2 vines.
Wow.
So I was quite happy with that.
That's
but it did take some time processing because, I do have to do everything by hand.
Right.
So, I mean, just pulling all of the grapes off of the stems takes
forever.
It takes forever. Yeah.
Did you have a big tub in your house where you stomped on them?
No, I actually did not stomp on any of them, to tell you the truth.
There's
but
like
back to squash.
Yes.
That maybe I can get this in before I lose my connection again.
Don't show it to the screen.
Yeah, well, I'll put that down. I'll change my screen back real quick here.
I know, it's just because like every time you show something, you freeze.
So I'll stop showing things. Maybe that's what it is. When I move, don't move, Lorrie, don't move. So with squash, one of the things that I tried, so I've tried squash every which way. People tried telling me different ways to try squash, cook it with brown sugar and do this and do that. And the problem that I always had was that it still tasted like squash.
Right.
And the taste of it was the problem that I had with squash. So it wasn't even so much the texture with me, it was the squash, especially winter squashes like your butternut squash and the acorn squash and those kinds. But So what I did, the first one I actually got one this spring. Not that I grew myself, but I bought one so I could experiment. And I roasted it and I tasted it, and it still tasted like squash. And so then I freeze dried it and I tasted it, and it still tasted like squash. And so I took the freeze dried squash, and you could do it with dehydrated squash too. But I took the freeze dried squash and I ground it up into a powder.
Mm-hmm.
And that powder still tasted like squash.
Right.
So I'm thinking like epic failure, right? So then I made ginger snap cookies. Ginger snap cookies have ginger and molasses in them. And those are two very strong flavors. And my ginger snaps did not taste like squash at all. So
it's an interesting challenge because you just like don't like squash with a passion. So instead of trying to learn to like the flavor, you're just trying to cover it. And I think that's a very interesting challenge.
We should find a way.
I know I'm not. Sorry.
We should find a way to cover zucchini for KK.
Same way, KK. I've learned to like summer squash the same way. You can shred it and then dry it and grind it up and throw it into anything that you're baking. Like you can't replace all of the flour with your squash flour. But the first time I did it, I added 1/4 cup of my squash flour into, I think, 2 cups of flour. Right? I only substituted 1/4 cup. And then the second time I did it, I think I needed 3 cups of squash or 2.5 cups of squash, and I put in 1/2 cup of my squash flour, adding a little bit more just to see. And that didn't taste like it either. So I'm quite happy, but it does. It because drying it changes the texture. So if it's a texture thing, right? And then when you mix it with ginger and molasses and a little bit of sugar and, a few other things,
right?
It actually can be quite delicious.
Nice.
Everybody in my family loved the cookies I made, and yeah.
You got a new series out of it, though. How many ways can I kill a squash?
Yeah.
Rima not like squash either?
Rima does not like squash, and neither does Dave.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's not like we missed it, but we had to grow it this year. And I'm sure you've seen Dave's reaction to me growing squash this year. And, why are you growing something that we will starve on? Why are you sending us seeds that we will starve on?
You should
kill a squash.
How to kill a squash.
Just squish a squash.
How to squish a squash. Yeah, so I was quite happy with the way that turned out. And the next thing I'm going to try with my squash is I'm actually not going to dry it. I'm going to roast it and puree it and make it into a pie with with ginger and some sugar, like similar to a pumpkin pie, but definitely adding the ginger and a little bit of molasses flavor to it. And that I think will hide that squash flavor. And it could make a delicious pie, very much like a pumpkin pie.
You know how they do fruit roll-ups?
Mm-hmm.
When they put them on there and dry them out, they also make vegetable roll-ups.
Yeah.
Maybe you can combine it with some other vegetables and then make roll-ups out of them.
Yeah. Or powder, vegetable powder. It's a great way to, like, if you have kids and you want to sneak some vegetables into them, you can even throw that into a gravy. It'll help thicken it. It'll add vegetables to it or any kind of a sauce that you're making. It's going to completely disappear in the sauce or whatever it is that you're making, but there you've just thrown in a cup of squash powder, you wouldn't want to even use that much, right? Because that would be like a whole squash,
Right.
right? And so whether you'd want to throw a whole squash into whatever it is you're making or not, I guess it would depend on how big of a recipe you are trying to make. But yeah,
That's cool.
anyway.
Yeah, you might have to try like making those like shakes. I don't know how they make those, but there's like these shake mixes or these protein shake things. You might have to try doing that.
Mhm.
Didn't I make a butternut squash shake one of the live streams?
I thought you did.
I think I did. It wasn't
Yeah, I
bad.
used to
Yeah,
try
banana.
out the leaves of the beets,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
then turn it to powder,
Oh, wow.
and then 'cause that's really good. And some people don't like the taste of the beet leaves because the whole beet is usable.
Right.
Well, most plants are.
right.
Yeah, there's ways that you can use almost everything.
Yeah. Well, in teas, like I'm not a huge fan of beets either, and nobody else in the house is either. That was the other seed. Well, mine didn't grow at all. They started to come up and then they disappeared. Something got them the first
Oh
week
no.
or two. Yeah,
not
so
sure
I ain't getting beets, but
Good.
we do get a vegetable bag every week that's delivered to us. That just has a variety of seasonal vegetables from local farms.
Mhm.
So we get things like beets and squash and stuff, and so I will cook them and dry them and throw them into a tea.
Yeah.
Mixed with grape leaves and raspberry leaves and rosemary and several other things, and just throw it all into a really healthy tea that
Yeah.
makes a beautiful colored tea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
that'll be
like
cool to see.
this year more than last year. I'm having trouble like with headaches and stuff that is supposed to be curable with tea, and I can't stand tea ever.
Mm.
So that's probably the next thing I need to figure out. 'Cause,
I'm
like, I
wondering
Have
hate
you
can
tried it cold?
tea.
She recommended that this morning. I think I'm going to try that next time, but I don't like tea.
What about grape leaf tea?
Don't
Like
like
that.
it.
Tea without tea, right? Like tea specifically comes from one plant. There's one plant that produces all the different types of tea that are actually tea. The others are
Yeah.
I think they call them infusions, don't they? Not so much teas as infusions, and you infuse them in hot water. And they're herbal mixtures, and most people call them herbal teas, but
Yeah.
technically they're not tea because they don't have tea
Yeah.
in them,
Did it.
right?
Yeah.
They don't have any of the tea plant in them. So,
Yeah, technically, I don't drink tea. I just drink flowers and
different herbal blends. Yeah, and a
Yeah.
lot of people do, and it just depends on finding a blend that you like.
yeah.
I actually kind of like teas better than I like the herbal teas that I've tried. Like, I know we grow them.
See, I find this hilarious.
I don't like tea.
KK had a kick a few years ago where she was obsessed with like learning all this stuff about herbal remedies and all these teas, and she bought me this whole package of like different kind of teas with chamomile and hibiscus and all sorts of stuff in it. And I was like testing all these teas, telling her which one I liked the flavor of, which one I liked what it did. I had one tea that would knock me out like cold. Like I drank like half the cup and I passed out on the spot.
It was like chamomile.
Yeah, and I had another cup. It was like an orange flavored tea that I would drink and it would help me wake up, like coffee but less severe.
Right.
I would
taste better, right? Even if I'm saying hi.
tea.
And then your chick
absolutely hates tea.
I can't stand tea.
Hello,
Miss
She'll
Ann.
be here in a minute.
Our personal favorite
Flowers.
flowers for drinking is hibiscus. It has a lot of properties as far as your sinuses,
That's what I drink.
or other health benefits. What kind of tea to relax and sleep? I love talking about chamomile. Definitely go with chamomile because it's great. It is great for getting someone to go to sleep.
See, I don't know
I
if
mix it
chamomile
with
Marianne.
Stuff high in
valerian or
magnesium.
lilac
is
is also soothing.
I think it's like the melatonin. It's either melatonin or melanin.
Melatonin.
They get your brain to produce that hormone, and then it puts you to sleep. So
See, I didn't know if the chamomile put me to sleep. I kind of thought it was KK talking about the chamomile that put me to sleep. I'm kidding.
Chamomile is very, very relaxing. I grow that. I actually grew enough that I have a big jar like this of chamomile this year, and lilac, white lilacs, and all kinds of good stuff.
Good for you.
It's surprising how much stuff you can grow that are considered weeds by a lot of people, and they just have so many medicinal properties to them that it's phenomenal.
Yeah, like one of my favorite soapboxes to stand on as far as that goes is goldenrod. And that just like it grows wild in our backyard, like quite literally. If you look out the window, there is yellow, and that is the goldenrod. And Mom thinks it's wonderful for allergies. Like we love that.
Oh, fabulous! Yeah.
Well, other than the whole tea part, it's great for that.
Especially if you had a beehive. You get honey from bees that pollinate the goldenrod. Oh, that's the best honey you can get.
Right. Bunky is sleeping, I think. I don't know.
The Bunkinator? I think she's playing with Legos.
She's doing something. Oh, she's coming. Never mind.
Here comes the Bunkinator.
Hi, Bunky.
Hi, Bunky.
Tripod, you're gonna.
I bet you my celery is taller than yours, Bunky.
I don't know what.
Are we growing celery?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't been able to go outside
Our
for
celery
like a
is very
week.
tall. So Bunky's allergies really bad. Yeah, Bunky's allergies have been really bad lately, and she's been getting nosebleeds because of her allergies.
Oh dear.
She hasn't been allowed outside or near tripod in a week and a half.
Yeah.
So close to getting a no nosebleed for a week. But then I got a nosebleed, and that's why I had to start right over.
Yep.
I got another one today, so I had to start right over.
Yeah.
I used to get it bad when I was a kid.
Allergies stink.
Yeah, I used to have them bad until I was like 15. And then from 13 to 17, the sneezing was bad. And then it's kind of like calming down this year.
You know who's never had that issue?
The one who's allergic to chocolate, I know.
Okay.
At least I'm not allergic to everything cute and cuddly.
It is.
She's allergic to cats, dogs, and feathers.
The problem is the cats, because I'm very much of a cat person. Everything else
I'm allergic to chocolate and poison ivy and latex balloons. And I think of the three, the latex balloons part bothers me the most.
I think, isn't everybody allergic to poison ivy?
I'm not. I can go up and touch it. And
there are severities to them. Like, everyone can get stung by a wasp, but there are people who react to the wasp stings worse.
Like you.
I am allergic to wasp and sting. Hey. Hello, Mr. Dave.
Hi. I get stung by wasps all the time.
Yeah. And then
I'm a baby about it, but I'm not allergic to it.
Yeah. And so I get like really swollen. I can feel it all the way up my arm when I get stung. But with poison ivy, Dad is allergic to it. I'm allergic to it. And I had one time, I think I've had 2 times that I had to go to the hospital because it got so bad. And then KK and Mom and Bunky, as far as we know, are completely immune to poison ivy. In fact, one time, my allergy to poison ivy is so severe that one time Bunky had rubbed up against a tree with poison ivy on it while she was feeding the cows apples. And then
she went to bed.
And I managed to get that poison ivy rubbed off on me just from being on the same bed as her. And so I ended up having a bad reaction all over my arm because of that.
I'm going to get my charger.
So it's not the poison ivy plant that you're allergic to. It's the oil.
Yeah.
React to the poison ivy. It's the oil. And if that oil gets on your hands, you have to wash it off with like dish soap or something that'll really scrub it out. And if you like put your hands on your face, then it spreads. And when you're 11 years old, 10 years old, you can't keep your hands off of your entire face. If it's 16. Well, I haven't done it this year. It's an allergy thing. Because I didn't realize that there were people who were immune to it until Mom told me that she never got it. Kayla never got it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Do you get
I didn't know that until I was 61 years old.
Well, you're
Do
old.
you react
I'm
to it?
old.
Yeah,
Do you react to it?
my
I don't know. Did you
What?
react to
Indian
poison ivy?
friend,
Yeah, it's
Uh,
correct.
he would eat it. He
Oh,
said,
really?
"That's you eat it." I've never seen him do it though, but he tried to tell me. He said, "If you eat it, you'll create it you'll get immune to it." No, I see what it does on the outside of me. I don't want to put it on the inside.
Dad said that
Sounds
he
sick.
got poison ivy on the inside of his throat once when he was little. And that was
Oh.
probably from, like touching his food or something, like chicken nuggets, something like that. And he said that was awful.
Yeah,
Well, imagine that.
I've
Close
seen
to
somebody
my mouth.
burn it
Yeah.
in a
Imagine
fire.
getting an allergic
Yeah.
reaction from the inside.
Yeah,
That sounds horrible.
That does sound horrible, doesn't it?
It's like your entire inside is crawling with itchiness.
Right? And you can't touch it. You can't touch it anywhere.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't want to breathe it in.
Like a zombie, yeah.
This is a good thought.
No,
Actually,
interesting.
make a paste with baking soda and vinegar, and that'll absorb the oil. That's a
That
good
is
idea.
very clever. You can do that next time I get one.
Yeah,
I'm
Mom
not
used to do that.
Baking soda and vinegar.
Yeah.
Baking soda and vinegar is good for so much. My
Right?
goodness.
Like paper mache.
Ah, nice one. Funky.
It's got like, it's like a semi, but it's a
Yeah.
convertible. It's got no roof. It's a
Yeah.
convertible.
That dog in the back there?
It's a
Yeah, she's got
flatbed.
two dogs.
Got her doggy in the back? Perfect.
There's Mari.
Oh, a couple of them. A couple of them.
I thought those were seats.
That's her dog trailer
Her
on the
dog
way to the dog show.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as squash goes?
Do you want to mention the squash cookies?
They good. They were good. They were good. They didn't taste like cheeseburgers though.
I wouldn't expect them to.
She does. Anything with squash has got to taste like cheeseburger or steak.
Just something other than squash.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to taste like a cheeseburger. It just has to not taste
Not
like squash.
Right.
That doesn't make no sense at all.
He was there when I spent that whole day making that roasted butternut squash soup. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. That's not survival food, I'll tell you that.
Not here anyway. But now that we know we can dry them and powder them and put them into anything.
Yeah, cookies.
Cookies.
Yeah.
And pie.
You'll probably do pancakes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do
never thought of
pancakes,
that.
muffins.
Yeah.
Our survival food consists of freeze-dried candy and powders.
And powders. Vegetable powders.
So, yeah,
They're making tomato powder right now.
when it comes to the end and everything, we'll be wired.
Maybe I should put some squash in our cookies today.
No.
But no, that was it. Just that you can, if you hate squash, dry it.
Make a powder.
Dry it, make a powder, and throw it into something. You could throw it in, like I said, sauces, spaghetti sauce, gravies, anything baked.
Nice.
Or pick it up and throw it and hit a squirrel.
That,
Yeah.
Then you have
that's
some
our
fresh
squash
squirrel.
every year. It's been growing for like 6 months.
Smaller when Mr. Dave holds it.
It does.
It's like, what the heck do you do with that?
Right?
Save it forever.
Save it forever. Just
Yeah, you gotta
okay.
like hollow it out.
Immortalize it.
More.
Immortalize it in like tree sap.
That doesn't even make a good pumpkin.
Right. Our mom makes the soup that our dad likes, and it's just butternut squash soup. But she adds a little bit of honey and puts walnuts on it. So
So how
That's
does she make it?
Does it taste like squash?
Yes.
it's squash soup. So,
I mean, it's got squash in it, so yeah.
It's gonna
If it tastes like squash, I will not like it.
see. There you go. As soon as we can get it to taste like cheeseburger or anything else, we'll be okay.
I've tried. I really have. I've tried squash.
We've had so many experiments.
Send that to head to Lorrie's for candy. There you go. Don't bring squash. Nope.
Don't bring squash.
cheeseburgers.
Check it.
Bacon, please.
Right.
Yeah, well, bacon. Yeah, it's too bad you can't make it taste like bacon.
Yeah. I could maybe.
Yeah, here we go.
Well, I could use bacon drippings to bake something.
Well,
That just sounds like a bad
the
idea.
roll-ups, cut them in
There you
strips
go.
and fry it in bacon grease.
Candied
Right?
bacon.
Okay.
Candied bacon is yum.
Uh,
But no, that's about all I have about squash.
It
It was fun learning, though. It was fun experimenting. Dave really enjoyed it.
It was way more fun to watch
so
you
fun to
guys
watch.
learn.
it's like that. Most of our experiments are in the dumpster. That's where they end up.
No.
And this time I was so proud because the first thing I tried worked. Well, it's not the first thing I tried because I've been trying for years to like squash, right?
Yeah.
I've tried it every which way you could possibly eat squash. I have tried it that way, and I did not like it. Oh, cardamom. I bet that might help with the taste of squash,
Yeah, that's a
too.
pretty strong flavor too.
Yeah.
It's a strong flavor.
Yeah.
Well,
What other
what's for
strong
dinner tomorrow?
horse?
Don't give her any ideas. Come on.
Maybe when I grow my other squash, if I get another one and I can make something.
You might be able to get a cup of soup.
Could you imagine even cutting it open to roast it? I wonder if it has seeds.
Yeah, the seeds are like that big.
Because it was completely mature. You know how you're supposed to wait until the tendrils
Yeah.
closest to
Sure,
the
it's small.
die off? Well, the two tendrils closest to it were completely dead.
Oh,
So
maybe,
it was fully ripe and fully grown.
maybe that's a dwarf plant.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Some
look like a
things are
dwarf
just
plant
going to
now.
mature, and they don't get any bigger, but they're mature.
Thank you.
That is absolutely true. Probably no seeds. Yeah, no, probably not. And if there were, they'd be pretty tiny.
Yeah.
Very tiny.
So what?
Stop.
Yeah.
They might grow into something bigger.
Don't worry, KK. My son's the same way. The one that's in the army. He's the oldest boy, but everybody in the family's taller than he is.
No, it's an oldest child thing. I'm certain of it.
That's the stress of being older.
Yeah. So
You
yeah.
get to be short.
We actually do have something from Carson 1954 who has a garden to show off.
Oh, he has a beautiful
He's got
garden.
this beautiful garden.
I
Oh,
love
wow.
the setup he's got.
And so he's growing some tomatoes and marshmallows and peppers and stuff. This is one of my favorite plants he has. Any guesses on what it is?
Marshmallow tree.
Exactly.
Yes, actually, he put marshmallows on his plant, and he emailed a picture to us. I think specifically for Bunky.
It was just great
You
because
put that on YouTube, and how many people would probably believe him?
no,
Oh, yeah.
literally, because like
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd make a killing on the seeds.
peppers and my
There you go.
tomatoes.
Like
It's
he
so
just
cute.
said it so casually. You
Yeah.
know? And then Bunky kept looking at it. He's just like, "Oh, he's so funny." How marshmallows grow?
Is that
Like she didn't really. She knew they didn't, but like he made her do a double take.
Yeah.
At least she doesn't have to climb to get to those ones.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You don't have to go. She's made. She's. This is what Bunky's doing.
Where is Bunky?
She's
She's right here. She's playing with Legos.
She's playing with Legos. Okay.
Building
I actually saw
stuff.
I saw the
There
coolest.
she is.
Yeah, there she is.
Hi.
There's the
I thought
coolest.
maybe they got rid of her.
Never.
Put her to work or something.
Hmm.
We should.
You think we should?
There's actually a super cool YouTube short I saw that was just like, "Come with me for my garden harvest," and she's just like getting all these processed foods out of her garden.
Got
So
my chips.
I got to do a harvest like that because I don't like gardening. I'm very good at harvesting and I'm very good at fertilizing tomatoes, but I don't like planting. So
Do you
Well,
wear your gloves when you harvest?
I can't stand gloves.
I don't do the glove thing either.
So when I harvest, I just
Lorrie?
like deal.
How do we harvest, Lorrie?
We wear gloves.
We wear a hazmat suit.
We
Why?
wear a hazmat suit.
In case the hornworms.
Sometimes you grab something and it's got like worms and stuff on it, and that grosses me out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I wear gloves.
The issue with is that like we have so many tomato plants.
Okay.
So you grab a tomato and there's like a good chance that there's a hornworm right there, and then you drop the tomato and you're like out of the garden in 3 seconds, and it is the worst.
Okay.
Right?
So
I don't have any hornworms, but on my little tomatoes, I pick them up and they have little baby worms on them,
right.
like
Ew.
little baby wiggly worms, and like covered in them. And
That's my farmer right there.
It's a lot of work to be a farmer who's like not into bugs.
Well, I don't like to get dirt under my fingernails.
Yeah, literally.
Kayla, Bunky, and Mom can't stand bugs and worms. So anytime there's a hornworm in the garden, someone's inside and they're just like, Trey, there's hornworms in the garden. Feed them to your emu. Oh,
I
Bucky.
don't understand that. It's not like they're attacking you.
Yeah.
But what if they
No,
do?
What if
What if they do?
Yeah.
if you're that
What if they do?
if you're that slow, you should stay in the house.
That's what I said, but Mom says I need to help.
The hornworms are like this long, as fat as my thumb. They've got a little spike on them, but they can't use them. If you squeeze them, they explode in green liquid.
Why do I want
They're
that on?
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything to
She's
you.
gonna start gagging. Quit. She's gonna
You know,
gag.
the tomato worms are really good if you dip them in egg and then dip them in bread and then fry them. They're really good.
Why?
Yeah.
Nice and crunchy.
Right?
I read a
No.
really good book about a guy named John who ate crickets with honey, and I hear that's really good too.
That's
Should
gross.
try that.
Stop. I actually had a classmate.
I
In
thought it was
fifth-
locusts.
Yeah, they were locusts.
Oh
not
yeah,
crickets.
locusts, not crickets.
They're a little bit different, aren't they?
I
Locusts
think.
and crickets.
There's a little bit of a difference, but they're very similar.
My classmate in 5th grade had this thing where he would bring chocolate covered crickets to school and he would eat them. It was nasty, but apparently his grandma loved them. I don't get it.
Yeah, there's somebody in chat that forced me to eat a ranch flavored cricket.
Ew.
And
It tastes like ranch, but it was so dried out, it didn't have much flavor.
Ah.
I did get one of the legs stuck in between my teeth, though.
Yeah.
Sticking out.
This was on live too, so you
That was
can
gross.
go back and look at it. But
So then I guess it's fine if you like got out of the jelly bean.
That was Mountain Grandma, by the way.
Ew.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
they're grinding crickets and making cricket powder now and putting it in
Yeah, Miss
food.
Grace has a
Yeah.
point. We eat crickets already, so why not just eat them?
Bioengineered ingredient.
His legs. Because there's legs.
Okay,
that's
you
why.
can take the legs off. They take the
yeah, I
legs
know,
off
I'm-
the crabs.
I'm with Miss Grace on that one.
I'll take raisinets.
Those are bad. Those are not bad.
They look like goat manure.
Stop.
you guys have to search for the. David used to love peanut M&Ms, and then he showed me this video this other day where they were cutting them in half and pulling worms out of them.
Yeah.
It was disgusting, and I will never eat another peanut M&M
She's
for as
the heck,
long as I live.
Lorrie's the heck of a
Reese,
laugh.
Reese's had that too.
That is horrifying.
Who?
Reese's.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't. It was just because it was a bad batch that had, got maggots in them and stuff.
Right.
Ew.
Well, so we had some at home, of course. Dave didn't find any worms, but he said they did still look pretty disgusting.
I did. I
On
went
the
through
inside.
a bunch of them, crushed them up and try to, find worms and stuff. But they use the bottom line peanut.
Bottom of the barrel peanuts in there.
And I mean, they're all like dark brown, black. And
They're not
stuff
very
like
good
that.
looking peanuts.
Yeah,
No,
you really never
no.
just bite them in half and look at them? Because I used to do that when I would eat
Not
M&Ms.
anymore.
No, not anymore.
I still
Imagine you bit one in half and found half a worm.
Well, it's like the almond milk.
What?
It's barely any almonds in it. It's actually the pits from peaches and apricots. The seed part of it, because it's the same as the almond. It's in that family. So they
Aren't
just
all of those kind of toxic? I thought they had traces of arsenic in it.
that's that layer that's on the outside of it.
Yeah. That's why you're not supposed to bite them.
The skin of the seed. Yeah.
Well, they just grind that stuff up, don't they?
All of my
Well,
child-
they press it and then they
Mr.
grind it up and mix it with water and stuff. 'Cause
Other
most
stuff.
of it's water anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Charles, you shouldn't have said anything. I had previously had Bunky convinced that you have to milk the almonds.
Stop.
So when the almond milk comes out.
Stop. That was also my childhood milk substitute because I'm technically lactose intolerant.
Even though she doesn't care and ignores it completely.
Okay, so it's not that bad. It
Yesterday
used to
you had milk.
be- yeah,
A whole cup of it.
yeah.
My milk.
Nothing happened.
You drank the entirety of my gallon.
You didn't tell me that. Okay, so I'm probably the person in the house who likes milk the most.
I love them.
And so she just that was with breakfast because we had a scrambled egg, and I didn't know that was the rest of the milk until 20 minutes before the live, and that was really, really sad.
We have no more milk. She's like, what?
That's very sad.
That's very sad. That's my favorite thing in the house.
I
Fresh
hate it when
milk
I
or
run out of
from the
milk.
store.
From the store. My
Oh,
goats
okay.
aren't doing great.
Yeah, the goats aren't in milk right now. And we haven't learned how to milk the cows without getting kicked in the face yet, but we'll get there.
She's never been kicked in the face. She's lying.
I didn't say I had been. We just haven't learned how to without getting kicked in the
Can't
face.
you
Well,
hobble
they
their
have
legs?
this thing that goes on the back of a cow that
Bubble.
it goes into their gut kind of, and it stops them from moving and kicking.
Yeah.
Might look into something like that.
Well, Grandpa used to put a
that's
hobble
taking-
on their legs.
Yeah, you usually tie one leg
Yeah.
down, and that'll stop them from doing anything too.
Yeah.
That's
It's just-
that's very
it's-
involved, and the cows really don't like us, so they wouldn't come. I used to do a lot of goat milking, but 'cause
Why
they-
don't the cows like you? You have to go out and bond with them.
Yeah, you have to train them.
the cows that we got are from our neighbor, and our neighbor was a rodeo dude, so they never really had that human
They're very
interaction.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
Do
they
you
were
have
very-
one cow that is a milker?
All of them are beef cows, I think. I think all of them are beef cows anyway.
Okay.
But
Because
none
if
of
you
them
got one, you can do like have one come and sit there, and you have a section where you can have them feed at the same time while you're milking, and then have the other one watch, and then they'll eventually get used to it and try going in there to get some food, and then you can gradually work your way into it.
Actually, because the moms were really good with me. And
my
so
grandfather had they'd run the cows in, they'd lock their head in the feed trough, and then he'd hobble the back leg.
Oh,
Yep, that's a cow stanchion.
But that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, especially if the cow doesn't like you.
You got to sing to them. No, I'm not kidding. You got to sing to them.
No, the cows don't like it when I sing. Andy will look at me like.
That's his face. He's got the most bug-eyed meatball.
No, all the other cows like Andy.
I don't like cows. So.
Well, the cows like Andy, and I like him.
I kid you not. He looks like a meatball with bug eyes.
You're a hell of a farmer and a rancher, aren't you?
Her and me should have a ranch together.
I was going to say you and Lorrie.
No, I need to stay inside and work on my game and do nothing. I need to do nothing.
Oh my
God. Kind of ranch.
Oh, I know. KK could make a ranch, and just like a ranch full of Charlie horses. She gets a lot of those.
Stop.
Oh my God.
At one point, I had managed to milk one of our Dexter cows, but those cows ended up not doing. We weren't able to keep them because they were very not nice.
The do nothing ranch. See,
yeah, the do nothing.
Do nothing.
I'm onto something.
But these cows.
I can't come to Idaho, but I want your kittens.
You are allergic to cats. You can't have her kittens.
I wish.
Oh, but the cows we have right now, they're still very timid, and there's no chance at all of milking any of them right now. But I have managed to pat Andy's head, and I'm very proud of this. I gave him food, and he's a big cow, our bull. He's huge, and he let me pet his head. And he has a very curly head. It's very cute.
He does.
I was just.
So are those cows milkers?
No, they're beef cows. They are beef cows, but
I was going to say, I mean, if they're milk, I think you got to, relieve the milk out of the cow, don't you?
Yeah, they get septic.
They're not bred for that.
They're not bred for that, and the babies do take care of their milk. But these are technically beef cows, so they're not like heavy milkers. So
enough for the babies, and that's all.
Yeah,
just
none for you.
They're breeders.
Yeah,
they're breeders.
Right. Yeah, that's what happens with the goats. Like if you don't milk them, they only produce enough so that they don't get overworked trying to produce milk if it's not getting used. So if you milk them, you have to get them used to that, because otherwise they won't do that.
Schedule.
They'll milk enough as is taken. So if the baby is drinking some and KK's milking some, then the goat will produce more milk. And if the baby is weaned but KK's still milking her, she'll keep producing milk well into the next season. But if you stop milking her, then she'll dry up because the milk is no longer in need of use. But we do have Firefly this year, and
we have a ton of them. They go all over.
Firefly the cow, Firefly the calf. Her name is. Okay, so this year I had a theme for all of the cow names. There's Char, Cole, Matches, Firefly, Sparky, and then there's Cherry.
And Terry?
They all got name tags?
No, I remember who is who and give them their names. But Firefly and Sparky are bottle babies. Their moms
They're the worst.
couldn't take care of them because the steer from last year were stealing milk from the moms, even though they're already weaned off. So the colostrum, which is the milk that's given to the calf for the first day, it's filled with nutrients and everything they need. The steers had stolen the colostrum before the baby was born. So the babies didn't have the colostrum and they needed to survive. So those two we actually ended up taking and nursing and giving bottles in our barnyard by the goats. And being that they're bottle babies, they see us the way they would see their moms, so they're comfortable with us. You.
Yeah.
But they're comfortable with me and Bunky, the people who feed them.
Right.
And so, not Sparky, but Firefly will be able to be milked.
But not KK because she's in the house, right?
No, it's not me because
animals don't
them.
like her.
It's a very mutual thing because, like, I don't like the cows because you're doing your thing, you're filling up the water for the goat trough, and they come up from behind you and they headbutt you because they want a bottle, and now you got drool all over your pants. So I don't like them.
They don't like.
And then you go to the bird yard, and then there's this.
Okay, so the chicken is taller than her.
First off, there's this tall chicken, and she's the worst.
Emu. It's an emu. Her name is Griffin.
Poor child.
An emu.
Living on a farm.
It's an emu.
There's nothing worse than having Firefly
Those things
drool
will
all over
carry
your
out.
pants.
No, it is the worst.
Okay, so
watch out for their claws.
No, literally, she's tried that.
Okay, so the emus are funny.
No, they're
Because
not.
we found out about emus, and me and KK used our money to buy 2 emus. I bought a male, and his name is Buckbeak.
And Dad wanted eggs, so I got the female.
And KK bought the female, and her name is Griffin. Now, Buckbeak is a little angel, except his wings are like this big.
Naturally.
Nuggets. The best. Like, you can actually go over to the 6-foot-tall bird and give him a hug.
No, you can't.
You can.
No.
I've seen you. She's making me look like I'm lying, but I'm not. Buckbeak is actually the best. And you can pet him, and he's got a fluffy little afro. He's the cutest thing on the planet. And then there's Griffin. And Griffin is the female. And with emus, it's kind of backwards. The female lays the eggs, naturally. But the male rests on them, and the female protects him. And so he'll rest on the eggs. So it's a little bit backwards.
Like,
I think we should nowadays. That could be wrong.
So it's a little bit backwards from how most birds are. And so the female is usually very defensive. And there are cases where female emus will become very aggressive towards female humans because of the similarity in height, and they're 2-legged. And so there are studies that female emus can get very aggressive towards female.
They'll attack you.
It's less common with males somehow.
They'll attack you.
Yeah, they will.
They will. They're very aggressive. If you don't know about it, look up the Emu War in Australia. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they lost that.
They did. They lost a war. They had
against
automatic weapons, and they lost to these birds. That's great. But Griffin.
That's really a funny story.
Griffin's
but
kind
really
of
not.
But really not, yeah.
So sometimes Griffin.
Do you eat the eggs?
We haven't gotten any yet.
She's been totally useless.
I'm expecting some next year. So, like, the first year,
I could have gotten so many guitars with them.
The first year, they are not going to lay their eggs because they're too juvenile. The second year, the female could lay eggs, but she'll only lay eggs if the male is old enough and in season. And I don't think Buckbeak was mature at all. So, Buckbeak. So I'm expecting them next year because Buckbeak is full grown now, and so is Griffin. And Griffin is kind of moody sometimes. So sometimes she'll let me pet her, and sometimes she won't. So it's
like
a
that.
complicated relationship with her.
Sometimes she lets me pet her.
But with KK, if KK comes over to the fence, Griffin will hiss at her.
She's actually
loudly.
the worst.
And the way
my
that
God.
the
She
sound
don't
that
like you?
No, she doesn't.
not at all. And KK bought her.
Right? Like, so much we should be,
Maybe you should show her the receipt,
right? Like,
so
It's
she
all
knows
about
that you're the owner.
but thank you so much for charming. We really appreciate that.
That's very sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ju-
So
Just
you don't,
give the emu a book on Thanksgiving.
Right?
That's mean.
She would be so good as a turkey.
You are not eating Buckbeak's girlfriend for Thanksgiving.
well, there'd be enough. There'd be enough turkey there for a few people.
Right? We could like host a church or something.
Oh my
Have
god.
you ever had emu meat?
Bet you haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Have you?
Yeah,
Oh.
How is it?
it's good.
Yeah, I've read that it's pretty good, but we're not eating Griffin.
Foiled
See,
again.
I would have no problem with that, except Buckbeak needs his friend.
He can like hang with the ducks.
The ducks that
Hang
he
with the
chased.
duck. Gee.
No, he needs
They'll be
Griffin.
the best of friends. He and the duck.
So you haven't had any eggs, so you don't know what the eggs taste like, do you?
No,
No.
we don't.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to eat? Don't they only have like one egg per year or per season?
No, they have a season in which they lay their eggs, and they'll lay like an average size nest. There's like 7 to 8 eggs in there that they'll lay on and hatch.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I
lady we
think
got
you
the emus
can.
from.
I think you
saw-
can. You can start your own emu farm that way. You know.
You could.
Assuming they ever do anything. Like we've not had a single egg.
They're young.
It's
Give 'em
like
time.
grapes. You have to wait.
Have to give them time.
But they're
yeah.
mean on
For a
top of
good
it.
3 years while they
Mean.
develop roots.
The grapes aren't mean. I can deal with the grapes.
That's true. They're not
Grapes
very
aren't
mean.
mean.
They don't hit us either.
Haven't you ever heard of the grapes of wrath?
Yeah. No. Oh my God.
But we should probably wrap up. We're very off topic anyway. But everyone in chat, make sure you check out Miss Lorrie and all of her squash videos.
Oh,
Very,
yeah,
very
yeah,
fun
that's
to watch
good.
Miss Lorrie like squash or learn to like or
How to
not
kill
learn to
a
like
squash.
Yeah, how to squish a squash.
Squishy squash.
So if you haven't already gone to Miss Laurie's channel and subscribed, please go do that. She's got the best channel. She's hilarious and she does so many things.
And Mima's great, and Mr. Dave is the life of the party.
What? Mr. Butterfly. What we call him. Mr. Social Butterfly.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here.
Also,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
miss Bushcraft Family's new channel. He's doing a new channel called Prepping Your Soul. And we found out about that this morning, and we haven't had a chance to go check it out yet, but go look at it. I think he's at like 33 subscribers or something, so you got to catch it while it's
Oh my
early.
God.
And check out all
Alright.
his other channels. He has many channels, many good channels.
Too many.
Bushcraft Family, which is him right now. So.
And also don't miss Trey's picks. She got bullied into doing a music night tomorrow.
Yeah, so all the songs tomorrow are going to be me songs. And I learned a couple days ago that all of my songs are very difficult.
What?
Miss B says, thank Lorrie and Mr. Butterfly.
Yeah, there's new Skillet songs, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
really?
Yeah, their new album.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh. Now that we have to check out.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful week. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Have a great night. I got to make dessert.